want to give a lot of credit, to Auburn. Auburn's got a good football team. They're young. They're really talented. There's a lot of NFL players on that football team. And I think they've recruited really well. I think they've turned the ball over at times this year that's cost them from probably already having 7 or 8 wins. Good football team. I thought our guys came out and we battled. I thought like after the second drive we settled in a little bit to the noise and really the speed and the size. The speed and the size, of their defense and their offense. Once it settled down and we were able to get a couple drives going, I thought our defense really played good on first and second down. We got them in a lot of third and longs, and I think they were probably around 80% on third and long, and you're not going to beat anybody in college football, where they're completing 80% of third and 9 plus. That's very disappointing. But our kids continued to fight, they continued to battle, and I thought a lot of guys stepped up and made a lot of plays for us. My biggest concern coming out of this game was having enough bodies left to finish our last 2 conference games. But we knew they had a good football team. Our guys came out and played. It's just, we've got to be better. You can't be 2 for 12 on offense on third down, and then your opponent is 12 for 17. And a couple of those were at the end, so they were around 80 or 90% on third down. But proud of this team, the fight, the effort. We just got to move this one past us and go on to the next conference game. I thought, seeing it from not looking at the film yet, I thought a lot of guys stepped up. You saw defensively several guys. I thought Trevor Randall made a lot of good plays. I thought Godsey made some big plays. I thought Cedron made some big plays. I thought our D-line continued to fight. Just a lot of guys step up. Offensively, it's good for us to be in this. This is as fast and as physical, minus Texas, that we'll see all year. And I felt like you can grow and you can develop from these games as long as you don't, lose a lot of your players, which, it's also, that's college football. But I think we'll grow, and this game will help us, the speed and the power, because it's not going to get any better than that, what we just saw. So at the end of the day, everything's about growing and learning and developing, whether it's good or bad, and we'll get better from this game. I felt like we pressed against South Alabama. I don't think we've pressed since. We knew we were playing a really good opponent. I think we've had 1 fumble on offense all year, and that was last week. And those guys, they flip games. When you've had 13 fumbles and 10 interceptions, if that had happened to us, we wouldn't have any wins. And Auburn's still sitting there, with all those turnovers. Those guys, they've got a bright future. They really do. I think they're recruiting well, and it shows. And I think it's just a matter of time. We expect a lot out of all these guys, and they've got a lot of true freshmen on that side of the ball that are playing meaningful snaps. Those guys are going to be elite players. Sometimes we look past the part of growing and developing young men, and I think our guys are continuing to grow. We're continuing to develop. We're in phase 1, and they're fighting, and we've got some big games ahead of us. We've got some opportunities left, and we're going to prepare and get ready for those next opportunities. Our kicking game, Max punted well, we protected well, we covered well, we put him inside the 5 a couple times. The field position is a big part of winning, and so I felt like, that was a huge positive. I thought, Bibb making a catch at the end. I thought that Ahmad made some good runs. I thought James Jones made some good runs. I thought Aiden Armenta made some really good plays. It was fast. He's still a redshirt freshman, and he's growing and developing. And our running back Ahmad, he's a true freshman. So I thought our offensive line battled. That was a really good front. It was a really good defense. It's a top 25 defense. It's giving up 19 points a game in the SEC. Again, we've got a good football team brewing and growing here. We've got a good program that we're growing. And sometimes you got to take your lumps and you got to harden. And Lord knows that right now we're hardening. We got to get hard. We got to get tough with it because we've set our standards and our goals high, and they're still in reach. So we'll get this one behind us, and we'll move forward to Arkansas State. We had about 5 guys go down in this game, and that's what you're scared of when you play an SEC team week 10 with 2 conference games left. It is what it is. is what it is, but, you know, we're already thin. You know, it's year one. And a lot of these guys that we hadn't had an off season. We've got 40-some guys that are playing for us that didn't have an off season. You got to build the power and your strength through time. But we've got a tough group. We've got a tough group of kids, and we got kids that care. We got a team that cares, and anything worth having, you got to fight for, and you got to go through tough times. And you know what? I want to see where we end up. When this season's over, I want to see where this team finishes up. And there's no quit. There's no negativity. We're just going on to the next one. I just told the offensive line. I mean, you look at their front. I mean, there's some draft picks out there with a lot of speed, a lot of power. They rolled 8 guys the whole game, and those 8 guys can all play. But I felt like our offensive line battled, and we created some holes. We were able to hit some zones. You know, we were able to hit some good runs. So, you know, our offensive line, you know, they're our first line of defense. They played their tails off all year, and I think this game will benefit them going into next week.